Good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor. Let us start the bulletin with the top headlines. At G20, Prime Minister Modi meets presidents of Brazil, Indonesia, Turkey. Talks center on cooperation in trade, investment and climate change. Trump and Xi try to iron out differences over tariffs and trade. G20 summit focuses on issues of inclusive and sustainable world, climate change and energy. Leaders pledge to make efforts to help women close gap with men on economic empowerment. India's forest reserves hit a record high of $26.42 billion in the week up to 21st of June. Rise due to higher foreign currency inflows and stable rupee. "17 killed in a wall collapse in Pune caused by heavy rainfall. Rescue work underway. 8 killed in rain-related incidents in Mumbai, Palghar, Akola and Nashik. And South Africa trounced Sri Lanka by 9 wickets in Durham, and Sri Lanka's hopes of making it to the semis. In today's matches, New Zealand to face Australia at Lord's, Pakistan to take on Afghanistan in Leeds. And at this moment, MEA spokesperson Ravish Kumar is holding a press conference from Osaka in Japan. Let's cut across live.
Meetings with world leaders yesterday and today. The matter has come up in some of the meetings. I am not very sure if Prime Minister intervened as part of the G20 on this matter. I don't think there is a session which is specifically on this particular topic. So I won't be able to answer that question. But my understanding is that there was no specific topic on this particular. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, those were the live visuals from a G20 summit in Osaka. Prime Minister Modi held bilateral meetings with the G20 leaders on the second and the concluding day of the summit in Osaka today. He held talks with the president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, on the sidelines of the G20 summit. The two leaders held wide-ranging discussions on bilateral relationship, especially cooperation in trade and investment, agriculture and biofuels in the context of climate change. Prime Minister Modi also held talks with Indonesian President Joko Widodo on the margins of the G20 summit. They discussed expanding cooperation in trade and investment, defense, maritime security, space and exchanged views on the Indo-Pacific vision as well. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held a bilateral meeting with the presidents of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, in Osaka. The two leaders discussed issues of mutual interest. And Prime Minister Modi is also slated to hold talks with Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison today.
Bilateral meeting with the President of Indonesia. That was followed by 2 more bilateral meetings with the President of Brazil, and the last meeting which just concluded was with the President of Turkey. In between these meetings, Prime Minister also made an intervention on the session 3 on the topic addressing inequalities, realizing an inclusive and sustainable world.
Meanwhile, amid ongoing trade war with China, US President Donald Trump holds a bilateral meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping in Osaka on the sidelines of the G20 summit. The two leaders discussed ways to resolve the trade deadlock between their nations. Now, both leaders have called the talks as productive.
Rarely would you see. Chinese culture is an incredible culture. I look forward to working with you. As you know, we've had an excellent relationship, but We want to do something that will even it up with respect to trade. I think it's something that's actually very easy to do. I actually think that we were very close, and then something happened where it slipped a little bit, and now we're getting a little bit closer, but it would be historic if we could do a fair trade deal. We're totally open to it, and I know you're totally open to it. I know all of your representatives. I've been working very hard with my representatives.
And the G20 leaders also participated in an event on women empowerment at the ongoing summit in Osaka in Japan on Friday. The special event on women's empowerment was attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, US President Donald Trump, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and other heads of state of G20 nations. The leaders discussed the issue of women empowerment and showcased their support for helping women close the gap with men in finance and other forms of economic empowerment. Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, the UN Secretary General's special advocate for inclusive finance for development, also said that it is necessary to close this gap for women to be economically empowered. Speaking at the event, White House advisor Ivanka Trump also stressed on the need to prioritize women empowerment around the world.
Every nation, including the United States, can and should do more. We must continue to prioritize women's economic empowerment and place it at the very heart of the G20 agenda. If we propose bold solutions and challenge the limits of the past, we will empower women to lift their families out of poverty, to grow the economies in their countries, and to deliver greater peace and prosperity to millions around the world. This is a legacy worth fighting for, and a future we can be proud to leave to our children.
And our colleague Akhilesh Suman is now joining us live from Osaka in Japan. Akhilesh, so US President Donald Trump, yesterday had said that he was ready for a historic deal with China. And today he held this very important meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping, with the world waiting to see if they can iron out their differences and they can strike a deal over their long-standing trade dispute. What more can you tell us about this very important meeting that happened this morning?
What I am getting from my sources that still they are telling that this is not the final meeting. This is you can say that this is semi-preliminary meeting, because their officials had been talking for a long time and almost more than 10 rounds of talks had taken place. And after that, there was stalemate. So I think that some basic issues they have discussed, but both have agreed in principle that trade deficit has to be meted out. But how trade deficit will be meted out, that is the question. And we can export, and China is also happy they can import from America. So I think these are now into the point where they can go into a structural one-by-one talk on issues of export-import. And I think what President Donald Trump is eyeing that, there should be some more trade going from America to China. There should be some manufacturing companies going away from China and coming to America, because Chinese also had been planning to, shift their many industry to another country. So in that way, whether it can be America, their destination or not, these are the very specific issues that might be discussed in coming days. But I think these are the principles that they had agreed to, and that is why they are telling that this is a productive issue. But that once Xi Jinping goes to Beijing and one, US President comes to Washington DC, there might be many more meetings. But what I can sense that in the G20 meeting, it has given us positive signal, because G20 meeting, everyone was keeping the fingers crossed that whether some negative statement coming out of either of President Donald Trump or President Xi Jinping.
Yes.
But that thankfully everyone is keeping that yes, positive signal has come. So positive signal is very good from Chinese side and from American side. So I think this will keep the economic mainstream in balance, and in coming days various stakeholders will join together and talk to them that how they are going to, iron out differences. But I think the first step has been one as far as G20 summit, and I think G20 summit should take the credit that this provided a platform for both the leaders to come to terms and initiate the talks that was in a statement. And you know that President Donald Trump is going to face election next year, but the election year has already started in America.
Yes.
So I think also he wants to wind up the contentious issue and to show to the people in his own country that yes, how much I have got from China. So I think he wants positive settlement, and I think that Xi Jinping is also going to give something to him so that a balance can be created. It is a good step, I think, indeed, as far as we are coming to know. This one, yeah.
All right. Akhilesh, thank you so much for all those updates from Osaka in Japan. And of course, apart from the G20 summit, the focus is all on the bilaterals and the trilaterals. And the Prime Minister also held a trilateral meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Osaka on Friday and discussed global hotspot issues like terrorism and climate change. Prime Minister Modi, who is in Osaka in Japan for the G20 summit, hosted Xi and Putin for the informal RIC, that is the Russia-India-China meeting, and the three countries in a joint communique of the 16th meeting of the foreign ministers of Russia, India and China strongly condemned terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. And Prime Minister Modi said that the trilateral meeting in Osaka is a useful medium of discussion and coordination on major global issues.
हमारी आज की यह त्रिपक्षीय मुलाकात प्रमुख वैश्विक मुद्दों पर चर्चा और समन्वय का एक उपयोगी माध्यम है। हमारे विदेश मंत्रियों की इस साल फरवरी में चीन में हुई बैठक में कई मुद्दों पर विचारों का आदान प्रदान किया गया था। इनमें काउंटर टेररिज्म, इंटरनेशनल हॉटस्पॉट इश्यूज, रिफॉर्म, मल्टीलेटरलिज्म, क्लाइमेट चेंज तथा आरआईसी के तहत सहयोग को आगे बढ़ाना शामिल है।
And on Friday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held various bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Osaka. PM Modi met German Chancellor Angela Merkel and discussed ways to deepen the Indo-German relations and enhance cooperation in areas like artificial intelligence, e-mobility, cybersecurity, railway modernization and skill development. Prime Minister Modi also met with the South Korean President Moon Jae-in and discussed ways to enhance trade, economic and people-to-people relations.
आपका बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ। मेरी पिछली यात्रा के समय जो स्वागत सम्मान मिला और जो अपनापन महसूस हुआ, और आपने सही कहा, शब्दों में हम भले प्रोटोकॉल के शब्दों का उपयोग करते हो, लेकिन ब्रदर के रूप में जो निकटता होती है, जो अपनापन होता है, और हम दोनों एक दूसरे के लिए अनुभव कर रहे हैं, ये लिए मेरे खुशी की बात है। एक्सेलेंसी, चुनाव के बाद आपने मुझे बधाई दी और एक ब्रदर की तरह आपके शब्दों में भी वो उमंग मुझे महसूस हो रहा था, और आप ऐसे एक मित्र देश के ब्रदर के रूप में मुझे तुरंत बातचीत करने वाले, बधाई देने वालों में पहले थे, और इसके लिए भी मैं आपका बहुत आभारी हूँ।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held bilateral talks with Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia Mohammed bin Salman and discussed a deepening cooperation in trade and investment, energy security and counter-terrorism with the invaluable strategic partner. And in breakfast news, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back after the break. India's foreign exchange reserves are at a record high. Now, data from the Reserve Bank of India shows that foreign exchange reserves hit $426.42 billion as of 21st of June, up $4.2 billion from a week ago. At current levels, forex reserves have reclaimed the earlier record high of $426.1 billion that it had hit in April 2018. Now, the rise in reserves was on account of increase in foreign currency asset, which is a major component of the overall foreign exchange reserves. Reserves have risen as both equity and debt inflows have picked up following results of the general elections in May. And the centre is all set to launch the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, a new pan-India scheme to ramp up rainwater harvesting and conservation efforts in 256 water-stressed districts from 1st of July. The campaign will be organised in two phases this year, first from 1st of July to 30th of September, and the second phase will run from 1st of October to 30th of November. Union Minister for Jal Shakti, Gajendra Shekhawat, has said that the government would provide clean drinking water to every household of the country by 2024. Besides, the government would also undertake and promote steps for water conservation and curbing the extraction of underground water, which is depleting the water table and is a matter of great concern.
लगभग 18% आबादी और 17% लाइव स्टॉक पॉपुलेशन धारण करता है और दुनिया की केवल 4% पानी भारत में, इसलिए भारत की चुनौती और भी बड़ी है और भी गंभीर है। जिस तरह से भूजल का दोहन हो रहा है और उस दोहन के साथ साथ में भूजल के पुनर्भरण की जिस तरह से की चिंता जिस तरह से कम की गई है, उसके कारण से स्थितियां और भी कठिन होती जा रही है, क्योंकि आज भी हमारा 60% इरिगेशन और लगभग 65% ड्रिंकिंग वाटर जो है सोर्स वो अर्बन जो है भूगर्भ के जल पर डिपेंडेंट है। इसलिए निश्चित रूप से चिंता का विषय है, और क्योंकि मंत्रालय में जो साइंटिफिक टीम्स हैं, जितने ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, उनके साथ में बैठ करके उसके ऊपर किस तरह से हम काम कर सकते हैं, इस सब पे आज हमने चर्चा की है।
ये जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट चुना गया है ये बहुत पानी के विषय पे और ग्राउंड वाटर लेवल्स का बहुत नीचे जा चुका डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हैं, अबाउट 250 और डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स। तो इसमें द प्लान फॉर दिस ईयर, इसका प्लान ऐसा है कि पानी के विषय पे हर बूंद को हम पकड़े, हर बूंद अनमोल है। तो बेसिकली एवरी ड्रॉप ऑफ वाटर सेव इट, और वाटर कंजर्वेशन इतना ज़्यादा करने की कोशिश कर जाए कि इस बारिश के सीज़न पे मैक्सिमम वाटर कंजर्वेशन करें।
And now, weather update. Incessant rains are wreaking havoc across Maharashtra. At least 17 people were killed as a wall of a residential complex collapsed on the shanties in Pune's Kondwa district late on Friday night. 4 children and a woman are among the dead, most of whom are construction laborers. The injured have been admitted to nearby hospitals and rescue operations are currently underway. And in another rain-related incidents across the state, 8 people have been killed and 5 have been injured. 3 persons died in Mumbai as the rain slashed the city. An 8-year-old boy died after being struck by lightning in Palaghar, while 2 farm laborers were killed in Akola. 2 people, including a teenage girl, were killed in rain-related incidents in Nashik as well. And in the national capital, monsoon is likely to make an onset on 3rd of July, after a delay of 4 days. IMD said that a low-pressure area is likely to develop in the Bay of Bengal on 30th of June, which will help with the monsoon advance. Normally, the wind system reaches Delhi around 29th of June. And now our special segment on the upcoming budget. Well, consumer durables and home appliances industry expects the government to lower taxes, give incentives to local manufacturing units and increase the customs duty on imports. Well, here is the wish list of the consumer durables industry ahead of the presentation of Union Budget 2019-20.
The consumer durables sector was the beneficiary of the interim budget's measures to provide liquidity to taxpayers. Consumer appliance makers are now seeking a tax cut in the budget on products like refrigerators, television parts, washing machines and air conditioners. Consumer durable companies have also sought a GST rate cut to 18% from the current 28% and enhancement in MSME investment limit.
To enhance the investment limit in plant and machinery for the MSME sector. Because if you want technology upgradation and if you want Indian exports to move up the value chain, it's paramount that the investment limits, which is stuck at 10 crores, And this is, since 2004-5, that should be enhanced at least from 10 crores to at least 50 crores.
Incentives for manufacturing sector are also expected to boost production and assembly lines of products.
Consumer durables, you require a lot of steel. That, there is a kind of disparity between the domestic prices of steel and the export prices of steel. And one of the things that EPCC has been raising with the government is to give the manufacturers of consumer durables also steel at export prices.
The consumer durables industry has been on a growth trajectory. Electrification of rural India as well as growth in rural incomes has helped sales of goods like refrigerators, television sets and music systems in villages. The expansion of e-commerce marketplaces, sales offers and ease of shopping has further assisted the growth of the industry. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And now all the action from the ICC Cricket World Cup, and South Africa beat Sri Lanka by 9 wickets at Chesterley Street in England on Friday. Earlier put into bat, Sri Lanka were all out for 203 in 49.3 overs. And for South Africa, D. Pretorius and C.H. Morris claimed 3 wickets each. Today, World Cup League matches are scheduled. In the first match, Pakistan will play Afghanistan at Headingley in Leeds. The match will begin at 3 p.m. India time. And in today's second match, New Zealand will face Australia at Lord's in London. This match will begin at 6 p.m. India time. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.